Hello and welcome back. I am Almrak. This is game 6 from the Platinum 2 group in season 6 of the Intermezzo Championship. This is my 4th game to complete in the championship. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting. I really appreciate all of those things. And now let's take a look at the standings and jump into the next match. Here we are at the Intermezzo Championship page on the CGE tournament website. We're in the Platinum 2 group, and with 3 games completed, we are tied for second place with 12 points. So we've completed 3 games, first place in 2 of them, and second place in 1 for a total of 12 points. And Tacusto 2 has finished 4 games. He also has 12 points, but has finished 1 extra game. So we're probably a little bit ahead of him, assuming we can get first or second place in our 4th game. And Ricicle is close behind with 11 points, but he has also finished 4 games. BlixLT, Lyra, and Kloss are a little bit behind everybody else, but certainly not too late to come back. There are still 3 games to go. And with that, our 4th game is with Tacusto 2 and BlixLT. So this is an exciting match. Let's jump in and see how it goes. So red takes Cleopatra for 1. And now it's our turn. In the second spot with 3 players, probably don't want Boudica. Confucius is fine. Hippocrates is pretty good. Pyramids is pretty good. Richland's okay. Let's take a look at what else is in here. So Alex is the only one not out. And what does yellow take? If I take pyramids, maybe yellow takes Hammurabi, and I can get Hippocrates. If I take Hippocrates, yellow takes pyramids and Confucius, maybe? And then Roman roads is 2 for red, which might make it hard to get. Okay, now what else is in here? Hanging Gardens, Stonehenge, Acropolis. So I'd probably rather have pyramids or Roman roads than those. And what else do we have? Universitas, Great Wall, St. Pete's, Machu Picchu, all very interesting. Statue of Liberty and Ocean Liner are here for some yellows. There's no Suez Canal again. Red Cross is here. Fast food chains, internet. Marlena is here. Fleming is here. So we have Jobs and Meyer and Einstein, so labs are pretty good here. Darwin's in. Cook is here. Max is here. There's no Columbus or Isabella. Do have Anjiska. Joan of Arc, King's Khan, Nostradamus. Yeah, okay, so that's what's in the game. Now we know. I think I want pyramids here. Red as a leader, so red's looking for a wonder. If we don't get pyramids or Roman roads, then, Stonehenge is okay. Hanging Gardens is okay. A little tricky sometimes. Goes well with Darwin, if we wanted to go that route. And Mike. Mike is here with St. Pete's. We do Hanging Gardens, Mike, St. Pete's, but Hanging Gardens isn't out yet. And Pyramids is going to be better here. And then we'll be able to get Hippocrates or Hammurabi. Probably. I guess yellow could put Hippocrates off if they took something like Confucius, Frugality, Patriotism, but I don't think that's going to happen. All right, so we'll go with the pyramids here. And yellow takes Hippocrates and Frugality. And what does red do? Elects Cleopatra, increases population, builds a lab, and takes Acropolis. Alright, so now we have Hammurabi or Homer. And what else are we gonna do? Something like that. We could, I guess with Cleopatra in front, although it is Acropolis, and Hippocrates, we can probably take Hammurabi here and elect him and take Engineering Genius and just not increase pop and just hope that that's not a development of religion or warfare, but particularly religion. Probably worth the gamble here, I think. Yeah, I think that's fine. Yellow takes Roman roads and elects Hippocrates, builds a stage, and plays Frugality. So they did not build a bronze or a lab. It's a little interesting. Red takes Joan of Arc and elects her, builds the stage of Acropolis, and takes urban growth. So does not build a bronze. And now it's our turn. We don't have an event to play. So that worked out fine. We may want this monarchy though, with Hammurabi. And probably build a lab. Increase population and maybe take knights. And then look out for a tactic for Zizka, potentially. Seems reasonable. We could even get into monarchy next turn, in fact. Seems good to me. Yellow reveals development of science. Increases population, takes printing press and urban growth, and builds a Roman road. So they're not doing their second lab or third bronze. Okay. And red reveals development of agriculture. Builds a bronze, increases population twice, takes swordsman. And now it's our turn. So what were we gonna do? I think do our revolution, right? Probably just that. So we're gonna miss both alchemies. The engineering genius, drama of red and circuses. But it's probably worth it. What else would our turn look like? I mean, we could take that, not build on the pyramid and finish it next turn. Develop knights and build it. Don't. Then take alchemy. Could take alchemy and get into it once. Yeah, science is going to be interesting. So I guess we look for Universitas here, because both alchemies and both printing presses are very soon going to be gone here. So, I mean, we could have knowledge of the, yeah, what are we going to get with this? Development of settlement would be pretty nice. Then we could build a warrior and then take alchemy. But lots of things would not be nice if we went with this plan. Any of the cards for 2 resources would corrupt me. Crafts, markets, trade routes. Civil life, we could do cannons, or increase civil life and settlement. We could increase population. And then build a warrior. I think we just go with this. I mean, I think we have to. We're going to miss the science, but we'll just have to make up for that later in some other way. Okay, yellow reveals development of settlement. And finishes Roman roads, takes code of laws for 2. Red reveals development of civil life. And they develop swordsman, take engineering genius, finish Acropolis, take rich land, and upgrade a warrior, and take bread and circuses. Pierre's not in the game. Darwin is. Gaudi's not. Red has an age 1 leader. Do we want to play an event? Let's look at the turn real quick. Increase. Then what do we do? I guess develop knights is as good as anything here. And then probably finish pyramids. And then what do we do? So this game has a science issue. The alchemies are gone, both discarded. 1 printing press in play. So we could take this printing press in hopes of building it later. We could take an irrigation. We could take Silk Road. And then finish it in a couple of turns. And that gives us another science. There's also Universitas we could keep an eye out for. We could take Gutenberg. And then printing press. So we'll get 1, 2, 3 more uses out of Gutenberg here to get printing press going. I'd probably rather have Zizka here if we can make it happen. We have a lot of CA and we're before yellow, so we could grab him. And we have fighting band, although we just got knights going. Maybe we'll get another, maybe we'll see a knight's tactic. I think I don't like getting into knights yet, so I don't want to do that. I think I'm going to raise my population. And then I think finish pyramids. And then I don't think I want to go into Gutenberg here. So I'm going to take iron and rich land. And I think I'm going to take printing press. I mean, wait, Darwin is good. You have Leo and Newton to a limited extent, but then we also have Einstein and Fleming that we can get into later. The printing press helps to get to multimedia. So we got here, now we're gonna have to discard something. Or we could do this just to help not be weakest. We would suspect that yellow playing events at the back with Hippocrates is not really playing strength events. So half of these are not strength events. Red in the front with Joan, you'd think, and Acropolis might be playing strength events. So it's a bit of a gamble. But which card would we get rid of? I mean, these are all pretty useful. So go ahead and getting this done seems okay. It just makes it harder to get to heavy cavalry later on. This is the situation we would want for Janjiška. I mean, so making the case that getting to heavy cavalry is hard, you could almost argue that we could not do this and just discard heavy cavalry then. But we are holding knights. Problem is just that if we don't do anything here, we have to discard one. I guess you could make the case that if we don't increase strength, we're probably not going to want to play an event next turn. But I think we can get rid of Knowledge of the Ancients here, actually. I'm going to stay at 1. I think because I don't want to commit to the warrior. Since we're holding knights, maybe we'll be able to make that work. Nope. Just goes out. Well, that's good, though. Yellow going to take him for 3? I wouldn't think so. They don't have fighting band because I have both. They don't have a knight. So we'll be in a good spot to take Žižka. So at least that's good. Yellow reveals development of markets. Builds a philosophy, takes a swordsman, takes the Great Wall, builds a warrior, increases population. And red reveals cultural influence. And red's the only one that gets anything. Build a philosophy, because they can with Acropolis, take an irrigation, develop it, upgrade, build a swordsman. I don't have an event to play, so we're not going to do that. Probably want resources. We probably want Janjiška here. And we might as well get him in play. And then get a tactic going. So here's Žižka working. And now, questions. So there's Universitas. We kind of want that. We're holding printing press, but we don't really need to get that in yet. We also don't have any happiness, so rebellion is kind of crappy, but we have a lot of civil action. So I think we take Universitas here. Get into iron. What are we not getting? Masonry, reserves, patriotism, frugality. Those are all fine, I think. For food, we don't need irrigation. Maybe we build a third farm later if we just get here. We also have 2 pop out already. So it's a pretty good spot. I think that's a nice turn. Yeah, so let's end with that. Yellow builds a stage of the Great Wall, 2 stages, increases population, takes breakthrough. Sitting on 4 population there. Red reveals Crusades. Good for them. Takes cartography and monarchy, develops it, takes iron, upgrades to irrigation. So red has a lot of events in now. So there is Cook, there's no Suez Canal. We would suspect there's at least a territory, maybe 2 in there. All right. So we could play Barbarians. I would suspect we're not going to catch up by the time Barbarians comes out. And we're not weakest, so the event would be good. What does our turn look like? A lot of civil actions. Not a lot of stuff we can take. We don't want theocracy. Bread and circuses for 3 is excessive, especially with no Pierre, but we do have Darwin. And we also don't have an answer for happy faces yet. Neither does yellow. I wonder if yellow takes bread and circuses for 2. And where does that leave us? Leaves us looking for team sports or organized religion, I guess. Or the statue. But it's not ideal. But I don't think we can really take that for 3. Seems like a bit much. So I think the turn would be... I'm gonna take this rich land for the iron. Reserves because it's there. We could get a printing press out. Or build 2 stages here. That seems pretty good. I think the biggest risk is rebellion. It would hit everybody. Monarchy and code of laws. But I don't know, maybe it's okay. New deposits would corrupt us here. I guess we could just build a warrior. Good harvest would not. Foray actually would not either. Rats kind of sucks. We would have an action, instead of increasing population, we'd have to do something else with our action. Not sure what we would do. And red has a ton of food. Yellow. Increased population, but it's as much to get out of corruption as anything else. I mean, Raiders is not the worst or the best, really. I mean, it's probably worth it just to get something in there. Okay, that's good. Oh, well, we can finish this now. Do that. It's kind of nice. So Dark Ages is no fun now. And Rats is no fun. So red put in 2 and yellow put in 3. So the strength ones are definitely red. So you would think that red's events came out, so yellow has 2 more in here. Cultural influence is one of them. And rats could definitely be one. And he knows, or Yellow knows, that theirs are the only ones left. So they would play it to get the rats out. So I guess instead of reserves, we could just increase population. I mean, that gets that CA over with, increasing it here. And it's a good time to increase it before the age ends. And rebellion's really going to be bad if it happens. I guess then no one gets reserves. I mean, you could take reserves instead. But then we use the CA next turn instead of this turn, and there's nothing else to do with it this turn. So better to do it this turn. And this looks good. So the age is ending. We should be fine. Again, rebellion's really gonna not be good. There's our new deposits. Yeah, so red has 2. We have 2. Yellow just has the 1. Yellow takes Leo and Alexa. Builds printing press with a breakthrough, builds 1 and takes knights. And red goes Reign of Terror. Yellow's the weakest, increases population, takes Machu Picchu. Upgrades an iron, plays Legion. Okay, strategies there. I might want that. Yeah, so they're not getting irrigation. Oh, they already have irrigation. That's a pretty good deal for them once they get Machu Picchu built. So we could put Devin in new deposits, I suppose. It's probably pretty good. So we didn't get a tactic for knights, unfortunately. We have 9 science. So we might as well grab this strategy, right? Bread and circuses is not as good, but we do need some happy faces, and it's not, I mean, it's a pretty good answer for that. We also have Eiffel Tower, Ocean Liner, and Statue of Liberty. So that seems pretty decent. We could also, yeah, I mean, we need some happy faces here. Yeah, the strategy. Do we want that? Do Code of Laws instead. Could do that. So Rebellion is still pretty bad, but it's bad for everybody. And then build a warrior. And we can put new deposits in. As long as it's not, as long as it's not Rebellion. Should be kind of terrible. I guess is it worth the risk here? Because it really kind of screws everybody. If we had 2 actions, what would we do? 1. Upgrade. We wouldn't get bread and circuses. I guess you could do organized religion or something. Oh boy, I don't know. I mean, it's probably not rebellion, right? I mean, someone would have done something about it if it was. Let's just try it and see. Okay. I do lose a civil action though, which... Is that gonna mess us up? Not too bad. Yeah, I mean, it seems fine. Not that big of a deal. We can still build one of those. And then get a farm next turn. So I wonder if we could get red to be one of the 2 weakest. Not very easily. I mean, if we do strategy instead of code of laws, it's actually kind of worse, right? Yeah. All right, I'm good with it. It's probably worth building that, I think, that warrior. We're not getting cannon. And we're letting yellow get it for 1, which is a little bit scary with a great wall, but what are you really going to do about it? Not take code of laws and not take bread and circuses, I guess. But we're really speculating because we don't. I don't know. I think I'm still okay with this for now. We're not going to play that. I don't think we're going to do heavy cavalry. I don't think we're going to plunder. Strategic territory, maybe. I just don't think that's going to be our tactic here. It's going to be really hard to get into it from where we are. I think we can probably put in strategic territory. I don't think that's going to be a thing for us here. Wow. Yellow offers us scientific cooperation. Interesting. We're producing 4 science, and we can't get printing press out next turn very easily. Yellow's producing 5, can get a printing press, and has Leo. So this is a pretty clear no on this pact. So we need to reject. Yellow then develops knights, builds 1, plays phalanx. takes cannon and builds the stage of the Great Wall. So we are weakest now. What's that gonna do? Okay. Red offers open borders agreement. Interesting. Why? I mean, they have nothing else to do, I guess, or they see the event. Oh, I see. It's probably barbarians. And red currently is one of the two weakest. I know it could be. Could be anything else, but I mean, it could be raiders, I guess. But open borders. Can red get a lot stronger here? Yeah, you can. You develop bread and circuses. Build one. You're at 6. And you build a swordsman. And you're at 8, 10. And what am I gonna do to get stronger? I'm gonna build a bread and circuses and get to 6. And then I guess I could build another warrior. So I'd be at 6, 7, 8 versus 10. And I have strategy in hand, so I'm gonna get that out. I don't think I want to risk this at this point. We both have 4 military actions already. And I don't really want to be forced to keep up with them on military right now. So I'm going to reject it, unfortunately. Red builds 2 stages, Machu Picchu, and finishes. Develops cartography and takes engineering genius. So that looks pretty good. Alright, it is our turn. We're weakest, so we probably don't want to play an event here. We cannot do an aggression. So we suspect... At first we thought it might be barbarians, but they're still weakest. So now we think maybe it's new deposits because they finished Machu Picchu and they get a couple of extra resources for doing that. Because they weren't the weakest. And they're still one of the 2 weakest. The spinning Earth. Okay, the world is no longer spinning, so let's get back to it. So we could get bread and circuses down here, which is good. But I'm not sure I'm actually going to use this population for anything. I could build this, but I don't really want to. I don't think. What I would like to try to do, and you know, things could change, I suppose, but what I'd like to try to do is get into this knights and copy phalanx instead of building another warrior. You know, when we get out of Yanjiska, 4 warriors is good with phalanx, but anyway, I don't really want to do that right now. And I think just based on everyone's behavior here, it's probably not rebellion in there, or people would be doing something about it, so I can just keep that trend going, I think. And I think it's get food right here. You know, the alternative is, again, you could build a bread and circus and build agriculture, Yanjiska, and get a little stronger. I just don't think that's great here. So I like that, and then probably Wave of Nationalism to give me some resources to build those knights. We cannot get knights and bread and circuses next turn, but we'll just deal with that, I think. We're going to commit to this not strength plan at this point. If we wanted to go even one step further, we could pull that down and put it into knights, so in preparation for getting into knights later. And in fact, we could still do this next turn. Develop knights, tear that down, build the knight, copy the tactic, and we would have just enough actions to do that. I don't know if there's a good reason to not do it this turn, but I'm going to go ahead and not do it, I think, because things might change. So let's go with this. Yeah, I sort of wouldn't mind putting in international negotiations and just trying to get stronger, but, you know, interesting thinking about territories and events. Lots of things Red could have not wanted, right? They could have wanted to get cartography out before they revealed a territory. And if that's true, then we would want to reveal it now. And what's really the downside of putting in an event now? We just potentially reveal a strength event sooner, but maybe that's okay. Maybe I do want to put in international negotiations and just see what happens. Okay, so it's rather anticlimactic. I guess Red just didn't care. About getting stronger for that. It's kind of interesting. They have enough stuff. They can lose 2 food. It doesn't matter. Okay, I guess it makes me more worried about other strength events, though, right? But I think I'm going to stay committed to this plan. And end the turn. Yellow builds the stage of the Great Wall and finishes, takes navigation, develops it, takes reserves, and takes coal. And now Red offers open borders to Yellow, who accepts it. And Red increases population twice, builds a swordsman, and upgrades an iron, takes cavalryman and rifleman, both for 1. So interesting to take the rifleman, maybe instead of upgrading an iron or something. Also saw the other one was there, so maybe wanted to make sure they got it. Alright, super weakest. I don't think we need to play an event. Red's still not playing events. It's hard to know why exactly. Last time we tried to get too smart about it, Raiders came out, so we could definitely like try to fix our strength a little bit. I don't think we have a great way to not be weakest, though. We can use all of our military actions to do that. Doesn't seem good. We can do these, get a little stronger. Guess we could get a little bit crazy and do that as well. I kind of like this because we're continuing to push economy. We just accept that we're weakest here. No one can really do an aggression on us. I mean, we have enough cards for 5, 6. We're gonna have 4 cards. Oh, so we're like 1 short, aren't we? Unless we get another defense card. Because we can use 4, we're gonna have 5 cards, so 4, 6, and then, yeah, we would be 1 short if we did this. Oh, interesting. Okay. So I think I did the math wrong before, but for 5 we can do 4 and 1. And then for 4 we can do these 2. But actually, if we go back to here, can we defend here? If I do my math right, we're going to basically have this number of cards when we're done. So to defend 6, it'd be 1, 2, 3. And then to defend 5, it'd be 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so we can defend here actually. So maybe we can do the turn a little differently. Yeah, I think actually we can go back to the original plan. So we the scientific method going this turn, rifle in and breakthrough. And now we can basically we'd use all our cards to defend if we had to, but that is fine here, all but one. So we can keep one really important one. So we need to get rid of 3 cards and probably those 3. I don't think we're going to be pushing events out. This tactic is starting to age a little bit. I suppose popularization of science might actually be pretty handy later. Okay. All right, come on, another defense card. Nope. We did get Classic Army though, which is pretty nice. Yellow reveals uncertain borders, so there was a strength event. Interesting. I mean, red maybe just doesn't have stuff to play. So we do lose a yellow token. Yellow develops coal, plays reserves, upgrades 1, takes Darwin, and scientific method. And red reveals, okay, developed territory. I mean, I think we can bid for this. What's our turn going to be? So we're going to have to get a bread and circuses out, probably. But let's say we lose a population. That's just 1 strength because we don't even have it in a tactic right now. So we go to 4. And then let's say we play Wave of Nationalism, develop Rifleman, upgrade 6, upgrade 8. Yeah, then we'll be fine. 8's fine. We'll draw 2 more cards, so we'll have 6 cards still. I think it's going to be hard to win this, though, with the colonization bonuses that they have. But we can certainly try. Red wins it for 7. And red sends away a swordsman and 2 cards. Upgrades an iron, builds a swordsman, takes justice system and develops it, and takes spectrum and develops her, takes efficient upgrade and architecture. Alright, so no one attacked me. That's good. And we know what the next cards are, so arguably we could play an event. Getting to classic armies is going to be good here. We don't really need the science, and it's a little late for Ocean Liner, and we have things we need to fix here. It's funny, H2's almost over already. This might be our second to last turn in H2. So I think we need at least one of those. And then, oh, we should play this. And now we're still weakest, but that's fine. We can defend, and we're not too discontent at this point. So I think that's good. We have 5 resources left. We do. Upgrade this, possibly. And take a rich land for the selected breeding and take a cavalryman. So it's possible we won't get knights out before the age ends. Seems reasonable. I think we probably don't need cavalrymen here. We have knights with classic army. That's probably all we need. And it's a little cheaper for us, which is good. So I guess we don't need cavalrymen. And so if we didn't do this upgrade, we could take breakthrough, which would take it away from yellow, which might be nice. It also saves us these resources. But I mean, the earlier we do that, the better. There is new deposits as well. So that would be good. I would like to try to get stronger for international negotiations. I think the next turn is going to be something like another bread and circuses and develop knight and build a knight. So we could increase population in preparation for building that knight. So it'd be knight, upgrade, build, and have 4 actions for something. Taking a government, potentially. Taking a leader, potentially. Taking a card. I kind of like opera here, though. We do need culture. I think opera is mostly fine with these leaders. Marlena obviously is the best. Fleming would be pretty good too. But I mean, even with Churchill, it's fine to get into some culture, or Mandela, or Einstein or Jobs. You know, we're on scientific method, so we get them. And arguably could get into an opera with Einstein. I guess you'd rather have journalism. So yeah, take opera or just get a pop for next turn. We could probably always grab this opera also if we wanted to next turn. I don't think anyone's going to take it. I think I'm just going to increase population here. And if it's meant to be, this opera will stick around and we'll grab that one. I want to keep population of science and the tactic. So I guess these two and defense card. We may be in a pretty good spot for politics of strength, and it seems unlikely that we would win territories. And we're going to lose that card pretty soon anyway. Let's do that. Yellow reveals barbarians, and that hits red, finally. They've been vulnerable to it for a long time. It finally gets them. Develops scientific method, upgrades, which is good for him. Takes constitutional monarchy and breakthrough. Red reveals new deposits, finally. They get 8. What are they going to do? Develop bread and circus. Build a swordsman. Build another bread and circuses. And take a frugality. Okay, so we have international negotiations. We're going to lose Janjiška here. So we have to decide if we replace him now or not. We might get some more information about which leader to take. Will Max disappear if we don't take him? I mean, really, Max, Newton are good. Watt could be good as well to get into oil here, or mechanized ag if they come out. It's just you don't know. You also don't know if a government's going to come out. There's still a constitutional monarchy that we could get into with Max as well. So there are reasons to get Max. Do we want to play politics? I don't think we do. So what do we need to get this knights out, right? Alright, So I think this is the stuff we have to do. Now, once we lose Zizka, we go into 14 again. So we don't win international negotiations. So how do we get stronger? We play our tactic is one way. I would kind of like to not do that yet, though. I just want to sort of keep this in the bag still for now. So we just say we're not going to be stronger, or we upgrade that rifleman. I'm not a... Yeah, this is kind of a... This is a tough upgrade, though. Oh, I guess we could also copy Legion. We don't draw cards, but it is H2, and I mean, we have our tactics, so we don't really need to draw anything else from H2. We have some events, we have wars. So I think this could be fine. Saves us resources, we don't have to put our tactic out yet. And then what else do we... Oh, I guess we don't need... Let's not take max here yet, though. Let's do copy this. And then we have 4 actions. We can take these 2. Is yellow going to take team sports? It seems very possible. There's no Pierre, but they don't have happiness yet, so it seems very possible. And then Max falls off and we don't get him. Yeah, it's kind of tricky. There's not... I mean, we could take reserves and patriotism. And that protects Max a little bit. Because now you'd have to take both of these. But even that seems pretty likely. If he can make it happen, he would, I think. I mean, government is not the biggest of my problems now. Still gonna get a strategy. So I have 7 civil and 5 military, which is still pretty good. And I don't know if a government's gonna come out, so he's not very versatile. I'll probably try to get Newton here. If Watt and an oil show up, then I'll grab Watt and the oil if I can. Otherwise, I'll probably get into Newton. Just a little, like, I know I'm going to be able to use him for stuff. He helps with my scientific methods. So overall, I think I want to go that route, which means I want a revolutionary idea. And I think a patriotism. I think we can skip cannon for now and instead get that selective breeding upgraded. So we can end the turn. What do we want to get rid of? Maybe a war and politics of strength. I mean, it's really hard to tell what the strength is going to look like a bit later. I mean, has a lot of resources, just doesn't have the science, and yellow's going to have cannon and knights. Not a lot of resources, got a good amount of science. It's kind of hard to tell. I mean, popularization of science is like a nice, safe thing we can put in and try to plan around. And, I mean, it's possible we could get to a war. So, I mean, if we get to a war, then we would get to politics of strength also, you would think. And drawing the cards is nice. I still think we're probably not going to win any territories. That's going to be a challenge. I think I'm actually going to get rid of the defense card. I might want to play both of these events and I'm not going to win territories, and hopefully I won't need to defend. I think that's probably fine here. Yellow reveals economic progress, which is pretty good. For us, yellow takes team sports, elects Darwin. Develops a cannon with breakthrough, builds one, increases population, upgrades to scientific method. And then red increases pop with frugality, takes Winston Churchill, who just pops out. Develops rifleman. Upgrades, increases population, and used Churchill for resources and science. And now it's our turn. So we have international negotiations in the deck, which would not be good now because we're not strongest, but I think we can play an event anyway and just get it out because it won't hit us, and then we can sort of choose what happens. So let's hope it's not that. Maybe it'll be Cold War or something else good. And we'll put Politics of Strength in next turn if things are looking good strength-wise, because it would still go in the next deck. And Emigration. Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, I probably should have considered that, right? Because I was worried about whether that was going to hurt us losing the worker. And so emigration and civil unrest were in there, plus international negotiations. It could have been enough to choose to not do it, unfortunately. So now we need to lose something. And yeah, this actually kind of stinks a little bit, because now we will increase population, do that. Now we have corruption. It's kind of hard to get out. Before we were able to upgrade here, but now we can't do that. So it's a little tricky getting out of corruption. Yeah, also now we're not strongest. So maybe we, I don't know, maybe we don't do that. What else could we lose here though, really? I guess in iron? I guess we could lose a knight here. Because that's not where our tactic is yet, and we haven't played this yet, and we can get back into that. Not next turn, but the turn after that. So now the problem is well, I guess I was going to say we can't be strongest, but we are still strongest with strategy for international negotiations, so that's good. We just lost this knight. And then, so we talked about these three leaders and getting them. So we could play a turn, we could play it where we get Newton in, but I think I really want to get this Air Forces. So if we had gotten Newton, then basically we get a free CA there, and then we have 2 actions left to like take reserves and play Revolutionary Idea or something. But we can save a CA by getting him next turn, and we can take Air Forces now, and I think that's pretty important to get here. It costs us 2 science because we're not getting it this turn, but I still think that's worth it. And then we take this reserve so we can get a food out next turn if we need to. And then I think that is our turn. Still would prefer to not reveal the tactic yet. We are strongest for now. Maybe something good will happen. That emigration was unfortunate. Just 1 turn later, and it wouldn't have hit. But at least we know popularization of science is in there. So we can end the turn here, I believe. We can copy a tactic. I don't really want to do that. I'd rather draw cards. Let's see if we can draw something good. See if a leader comes out that might be good to grab. Wow, all the blues though. Interesting. Got this, which isn't too helpful. Population and government. It's good to know. All right. Yellow develops constitutional monarchy, takes military theory and military buildup and patriotism, builds a cannon, and stops there. So we are still stronger. Red takes the revolutionary idea for 3 professional sports. Uses Churchill, built, I think, a rifleman, right? Develops cavalry, then upgrades a couple of riflemen. All right. So now it's our turn. And my sort of immediate thought is this is a relatively early oil. So we do something like this and take these 2 or get Newton in before we research oil. We get about 4 productions on oil or so, which means we net about 12 resources. Which is pretty close to worth it, I think. It doesn't really give us a good culture plan yet. And you know, we could take Newton. We just don't know when another leader's going to come, and I'm not sure how we're going to get culture at this point. And we have Sid Meier here, so he could actually get our culture going. We have internet in the game also, so he's going to help with that. And we just don't know when we're going to get another leader. And after we get him in, I think there's some mix of things. We could still get 1 oil. We do have corruption. If we can get engineering genius, that's 4 or 5 resources right away. Sorry about that. Toward what we would have gotten with oil. Engineering will help us finish internet more quickly, and if we use engineering for internet, then engineering genius is a little bit less good. Getting out of corruption is a little bit tricky here. That doesn't quite do it. I think the only thing we can really do here is increase pop like that. And then we can build scientific method. But if we're going to get engineering, then we might as well wait and save a couple of resources that way. So we can take these 2 and build one of these, or get civil service, then take engineering, then build this. We're not strongest, but we can play this. And we are a good bit stronger. I'm still a little leery about exposing this and giving it to people. So we could just copy this tactic and that gets us stronger. So I think this is what I want to do. I think there's lots of different ways of like doing this, giving something up here to get engineering genius, but then we have corruption if we do that. So it's only a couple of resources. This way we're stronger. And now the question is, do we put an event in? So international negotiations is here, which means if it comes out on yellow's turn, then we would win it. I suspect that yellow's not going to play a political action, though, in this situation. For some reason, I think that's the case, and I think yellow can get stronger. It seems like red might also not play an event if they're weaker. So yellow would get stronger here. I assume they have some way with all of this that they would get stronger. And so I'm thinking, since we're not weakest, maybe we can play the event and just see what it is here. You know, a Cold War would be really nice here. Yeah, Crime Wave kind of stinks, I guess. terrorism would still be pretty good. Actually, it wouldn't be because we would be ahead at that point. But if it was next turn, then terrorism would be good. You'd think if someone had terrorism in, they would want to play. So do we play this event? I think if we were going to play one, it would be impact of government. We're ahead now. We're getting a couple of more with the civil service that we put in here. So we just have to decide whether to put this event in or not. And I think I'll play it. I mean, you know, in our league, yellow's ahead a little bit of red. So if I can give something from yellow to red, I think that would be a net gain overall. Plus, I think, you know, it's a reasonable play to put this in. It's maybe a little early for impact of government. You know, this might get ravages. We might not get a new government, but I think it's close enough that we can give it a shot here. Oh, and it is international negotiations. Okay, so we don't get it, unfortunately. But what do we want to give to red? Resources, probably. Because red doesn't really need them. You know, red could certainly use more food. But I'm probably going to give resources, I think, here. We lost 3-4. Could still get military theory next turn. So it doesn't really do much for that. And food, sure, taking food is bad, but he has some spare population anyway. So I'm going to say resources here. And then we do what we said we were going to do. So we do Sid Meier, civil service, reserves, build the knight, copy that tactic. Number 22, and we take engineering. And I think this will be fine. There's something to be said about the fact that we don't need to be strongest anymore. If no one else plays events, maybe we could put politics of strength in. I don't think we're going to stay strongest, though. I think others are probably just going to not play events, and we will not be strongest anymore on our turn. But this is just a way to get us out of corruption, essentially. Unfortunately, we have to use our reserves for food instead of resources, which, you know, with just not having a lot of resources, keeping that for resources would be good. But it costs us 2 resources to save 3 resources, and that is not probably worth it here. So we'll go with this and our turn. So, you know, we're definitely going to be looking to grab yellows as they come out. Those are going to be important for us. I only draw 2 cards here, unfortunately, but that's something. Yellow reveals freedom of movement. Takes computers and mechanized agriculture and professional sports and develops professional sports and takes endowment for the arts. Leaves the civil actions. They developed a thing and took a bunch of cards. And then red reveals Cold War, which is great for us. And red. Increases population, builds a bread and circuses, takes democracy and develops it, which is pretty nice for 10. Plays a revolutionary idea and then develops and upgrades 2 professional sports. Alright, so let's see. In this situation, International Red Cross is probably not the right thing for me, and I imagine it's probably gonna fall off. And let's see, we have a couple of wars. Impact of population is not too bad. So we could play that for one of these 2 events. And I think I like the idea of taking this rifleman and putting it onto scientific method. So that saves us some resources for building that. Now we're not as strong. And so can we put this tactic in now? So 24, so we're strong enough. But now we're giving it to red, but at this point, it's harder for red to get into it. They're limited by several things. Food, military actions. So they could move stuff around and get 2 into it. And then copy the tactic next turn. And then maybe there's one more turn after that to do the war. But with this many military actions, it's going to be hard to sort of do that. And I have air forces, so maybe I'm not super worried about it. Yellow is in a harder spot for copying it. They don't have the infantry yet, but they could get there. So yeah, we'll consider that. Then let's see, we didn't get oil, so we want to take these yellows. We also want to take them away from yellow. Want to take the yellows from yellow? Yes, we do. So I think it's those two to help us. There's lots of wonders on the way that would be good. Specifically internet would be great. Fast food chains would be pretty good. And yellow is going to have a bit of a hard time finishing it, and red, you know, could get 2, basically. If we're capped at culture here on scientific method, how do we get into more culture? Multimedia and movies. There's 2 movies left, so we don't necessarily need to spend 3 for that one. So we can take urban growth. Let's see, if we we'll have 8, 8, 10, 12. So if we don't increase population this turn, then we can get 1 more out before the end of the game with outer reserves. So there's some reason to not increase population here. Efficient upgrade is going to be a little bit hard for us to use here. We don't have anything to efficiently upgrade except this, or to the oil, so I don't really want that. Urban growth, we can go into a movies or something. Plus engineering. We could try to get movies this turn, actually, but we either have to increase population or destroy bread and circuses. And if we do it next turn, we could get engineering also. And that would save us some resources as well. We could try to take satellites, but I don't think we have the science for it. As much helpful as it would be. And we're not... I mean, we're in a fine spot with impact of progress here, so I don't think that's too big of a deal. We're only improving popularization of science by 2, so we might as well play this event, and since we're not weakest, we're not getting to be strongest, so we might as well put in impact of population. I think it will be competitive. I mean, it's most important that we beat yellow here anyway. So yeah, I think we're going to be pretty close on this. Let's go ahead and put this in, see what happens. Ooh, international agreement. Interesting. So we're going to go from rifle to scientific method. Play this tactic. Reserves, urban growth. And we don't increase population. I think we could play revolutionary idea. And I think this is just the turn. We're taking yellows, which we need. Yes, we get corruption, but I think that is okay here. We're going to save resources next turn because of it. Hopefully there is a movies around next turn for us. I mean, I'm hoping yellow doesn't take it, and multimedia is just a better option for red. And so movies sticks around. You know, we could take it instead of urban growth. I mean, our targets for urban growth are move. I mean, there's just not a lot of cards left. It's just a little scary. Red definitely wants computers. Well, maybe not. Maybe they get multimedia instead. So there's just a risk that we can't get into one of these early enough. And do we need the extra resources over the movies? I mean, urban growth helps us with the movies. The reserves helps us with a wonder, essentially. And I think, you know, there's a lot of other yellow cards. There's another urban growth, efficient upgrade, 2 more reserves. I think it's probably more important to get this movies here. If we can get one more yellow card, then we can get a third movies out. I think as it stands, we'll only get 2 movies, but we can get them both next turn, and then that leaves enough resources for a wonder and a little bit left to do something with, maybe in military with the patriotism, like maybe get the air forces. So I think it's more important here to get the movies. I think my last action would probably be Revolutionary Idea. I guess there's some question there too, because I don't need Revolutionary Idea to get engineering and movies. So I could just save an action and put engineering in. If one of these happens to be impact of progress or tech, that would be good for that as well. Then we can get movies, and it just saves us an action next turn if we don't need to do Revolutionary Idea yet. So I think this would be the turn. I think it's pretty good. I think we're in a pretty good spot. We're almost tied with red. I mean, yellow has more culture production at the moment, but their economy is pretty rough, and they have a happy face issue at the moment. Yeah, I think this is what we'll go with. So let's see what we can draw. So yellow and red do a peace treaty pact, which is kind of interesting. Plays endowment for the arts and gets 6 culture, takes modern infantry, increases population, develops modern, mechanized agriculture, takes efficient upgrade, destroys a knight to build a printing press, and plays positional army. And then red did international agreement and took some things. We'll take a look. Takes patriotism and air forces, increases population, builds in professional sports twice. Takes tanks. There's all of the military techs, but not all of the science for it. Alright, so we drew more wars and aggressions after we played this engineering. The engineering was to go into these movies, but yellow did not get air forces. They still are only producing 3 resources, and kind of gave their hand away here with this tactic. So this is what they're going to go into. Man, I really want to do 2 wars against yellow. And I'm kicking myself for doing this engineering. I don't like to do things in a turn thinking, to prepare for what I'm going to do in the next turn. This is a good example of this engineering was for getting movies, but now I like the war option better. Playing this Revolutionary Idea would have been great. Like I haven't done all the calculations, but like you do air forces and then get tanks and upgrade a couple, and that would have been great. Movies looks a little bit like this. So we'd be getting 15 culture. Red took Red Cross. Interesting. Yeah, what else did they do? Let's just look real quick. Red Cross, urban growth, and rockets. Red Cross is interesting. They don't have a lot of food. There's not many colonies in play. They have all of these resources also, and there are, these other wonders in play. So yeah, we're getting that thing. I can't see his number because that thing's in the way. 55. But really, let's see. So he's making 8 culture. Oh, I just go to him and then it goes away. That's helpful. Yellow gets to 70. I get to 59. going to be hard to... Is it going to be hard? No, we can finish a wonder. Yellow's not going to finish a wonder. Almost certainly. Does it look like they put impact of tech in with these? Why else would you be researching these, right? I mean, this is going to be tight. I mean, if we assume we can finish a wonder, we would have 59 to 70, and then he's going to get Einstein and lose 5 culture. So I mean, you can kind of assume it's about the same. 59 to 70, then 74 to 82. And we finish the wonder and get 20. But there is also this. We're a little bit. We don't have defense cards, and we're down by 12 against red. So that's a bit of a problem. That'd be quite a risk right now. We have all these military cards. Let's see what else we can do. So if we wanted to get into military, we can, let's see, what would that look like? We want to get Air Forces, build one to 37. And I think that yellow, you know, if they just very straightforwardly researched modern infantry, played their resource cards, and took a couple of population, can get up to 40 if they do positional army, not antiquated, plus 1 more modern infantry. They're at 40. And then they just have 3 resources the next turn. So 37 is not enough. We can do this. Get up to 43. And I think in most cases then we would win, then get to 40. I think there is one situation where they can get above 40. You can get to about 44. And this is if Marlena came out and he's also holding entrenchments, this tactic, entrenchments. With that, he could get to 44 strength, and then he would win, obviously. So doing a war at 43 is probably good. I think we would probably get 8 culture out of it, the 3 differential plus 5 more for the war. And then the next turn we can do another war. The other option, if we go this military route, is we can put Politics of Strength into the deck. It reveals popularization of science, so we would get 8 instead of 6. So we would get 2 more for popularization of science and 2 more for Politics of Strength. So 4 of the 8 right there is covered. And then if enough events are played and Politics of Strength actually comes out, we would get another 5. So that would be good, and it'll be close between them, but one of them would lose the culture. So overall, I think if we do the movies route, then everybody would be really close in the end. I think we'd all end up in the mid to high 90s or so, but we are at risk from an aggression by red. We're not dealing with that. If we go this route, then I think red and I will end up in the mid to high 90s, and yellow will end up sort of out of it. I don't know where exactly they'd be at 70 or 60 or something. On the last turn, there is this non-zero chance we could plunder someone and finish internet also. If we had, you know, if we're able to get a card and make that happen, I think it is possible. Or even get into movies on the last turn, because I think then we would actually probably play this patriotism and these. Well, really, we don't need to build those this turn if we're not going to do the war this turn, but sort of regardless. Then revolutionary idea, and then maybe tanks. I don't think we have the resources for tanks, though, because we're going to have 10 plus 4 is 14. And we're going to need 7 plus 6, 13 for this. So we don't even have enough really for tanks. It doesn't do anything for us. I mean, again, I hate playing these as a turn ahead, but we're almost certainly going to want resources so we could do that. If for some reason something doesn't work out here, and if we did food, we could do 2 Red Cross stages, or no, we can only do one. What am I thinking? We could do one of them next turn, but probably resources. So then the question's just, so between those two, the aggressive route is the right one, which makes we move this rifleman over to scientific method and we put this engineering in, and that was all silly. Because now we're undoing it. So it's not super efficient, but I still think it's the right move. Politics of Strength is the way to go here, playing that event. It's pretty unlikely that they can beat us in the war, but it's probably worth putting this in instead. So we'll put Politics of Strength in, we'll get Popularization of Science out, and then we'll build up for the war next turn. Also gives us the benefit of drawing a few cards if we don't do the war this turn. And, you know, we'll learn some stuff from that. Alright, so let's put this in. And then get ready for this war. Let's build up for this, so it's Air Force and Patriotism. Build one. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 more military actions we have to take. We actually need to build one more unit this turn, I think, because we're only going to have 2 military actions next turn. So we need to build... We need to build 3 units this turn. Oh, this is going to be a little harder. I think I got confused because there was an extra one from Patriotism. So I think we almost need to do this. And we'll have 7 plus 4. So enough to build those 2 with our 2 actions and do the war. I wonder if a war of territory would have been interesting this turn. I don't know. But so now we'll have only 8 science next turn. We can't destroy this, or we won't have enough resources. Can't destroy this or we're unhappy. Can't destroy food or we would have famine. So our only choice is just to destroy these. So it costs us 2 culture and 2 science to do that, unfortunately. So that makes things just a little bit tighter. And then next turn we destroy 2 of these, or 1 of these and 1 of these, one way or the other. So our harmony is going to be impacted also. I think this is it. It's going to be close, it's going to be tricky, it's super inefficient, but let's see what we can draw. We can get rid of this card, and we're definitely not getting into this tactic. We also won't be able to do 2 wars, but I mean, I suppose it's more possible we would use the tactic than we would do a war, because we only have time for 1. So we'll discard those 2 wars and keep everything else. So we 1, 2, and the war. Alright, let's see what we can draw. Interesting. Neither of those are hopeful at all. The game definitely wants us to be violent, though. Yeah, one other thing to note here, we actually need 3 population, 1, 2, and a 3rd to handle this unhappiness here. So I think we'll maybe take 2 from here and 1 from here or something. We'll see. I mean, we have no idea what other impacts are in besides the 2 we played. I've not seen any other ones. So yellow does play military buildup. Takes Albert. Einstein, Alexin, develops modern infantry, increases population, builds one, plays patriotism, upgrades a farm, upgrades a warrior, destroys a farm, builds a warrior. Okay, so now Red is offering a military alliance. I'm sure this is reading into it too much, but whatever maybe event Red put in, they don't want to reveal it. I'll cross my fingers on impact of strength, but we'll see. I don't think there's any reason to not accept this. It just makes the war better with yellow. We don't have to worry about Marlena. She didn't come out for him. He also didn't get any reserves cards. Red's not getting them either, which means we will get them. So I think we can take this.
All right, Red takes Revolutionary Idea, 2 of them, builds 1 stage of the Red Cross, and destroys a mine, uses Churchill, builds a cavalryman, copies Classic Army. And what was the first thing they did? All right, and then the age ends. So yellow gets a token back. Oh, also developed architecture, and we got that military alliance pact. All right, so now I think it's just all about the war, right? So we war against yellow. And then we're going to destroy things. I mean, I think this is the right thing to destroy. We're going to lose a food, then we'll lose another food next turn. Do we know anything about the impacts? No. So we're sort of hedging our bets across everything. I'm not sure what the 2 resources is going to help us with here. Impact of balance, I guess, and industry. Yeah, but we're kind of in a tough spot, impact-wise. So there's the war. I think it could be worth trying to figure out a way to build a stage of Red Cross on Red's turn. So they're going to be able to get 2 if they pay the reserves for the Red Cross. They'll get 2 stages. Yellow gets 1. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we can finish a stage of it. So we can guarantee some culture by switching this to pulling down both irons. And then we play reserves, and then we play these units. And now we'll have 1 resource plus 4 is 5, plus 4 is 9. So we have 9 resources, which gets us a movie, if we want to go the movies route. It could get us... could actually get us a scientific method and a religion or something if we wanted to go that route. Scientific method gives us 2 culture, and religion gives us 1, so we can get 3 that way anyway, plus we get a little more science, so that could be something we try to do. We have done the war against yellow, which is what we want, and then next turn we'll get into movies, which also gets rid of, takes care of our discontent worker. Depending on how strong people are, we maybe can pull something from off the military, but I'm not sure what we'll be able to do with that right now. Yellow reveals impact of agriculture. So that is good that we kept those selected breedings. That was a big difference there. Lucky. And then yellow develops military theory, destroys a scientific method, builds a warrior. Oh, right. Destroyed the scientific method, builds another warrior because of the Great Wall. So that's extra strength that I did not account for. Builds a stage of the Red Cross, destroys a mine, a coal, it takes a efficient upgrade, and that's the end of their turn. And red reveals impact of competition. How do we do there? Not bad. So the competition was definitely reds with those professional sports, but we did pretty well against them there. Plays reserves, builds 2 stages of the Red Cross, revolutionary idea, takes computers, develops it, and upgrades 3 times. Okay, so is that disbands a rifleman, builds cavalryman. So we've got the army back. And then we get 29, not 31, because I forgot about the Great Wall. So they ended up getting 2 more than I expected. They're pretty close to red right now. So I think it's either impact of science or architecture. It's almost certainly architecture, I think. So we're definitely not going to get more science. But we're tied with yellow, and the next one's not impact of science, and yellow, pretty sure, can't do anything. I mean, like, literally can't do anything on their turn except destroy stuff. So we're well ahead of yellow. I think we'll win that. Red did not get strong enough to prevent an aggression. So I think we almost certainly want to armed intervention them. That's 14-point swing. And if we raided or plundered, the only thing we'd be able to do is like build another movies. It's 4 culture, but that's not going to be enough. So we armed intervention red. So we get that 7 culture. Now we're ahead. Isn't that convenient? We do the Red Cross. We get 5 more on them. We're by 12. And then can we destroy that? Yes, we can destroy that and still be stronger. We could actually get 2 of them if we needed to. And that won't impact competition now. We still win strength. Now we had talked about doing, well, I guess we have to play reserves first. Doing this just to get more science in case yellow or someone played impact of science, but yellow can't get any more science. Unless I'm missing something. I don't think I am. But they can't get any more science, so we would win. And we're not going to catch red. So this only gets us 2, well, this gets us 3 culture. Whereas this gets us 4 culture. We're still tied on impact of science. We get 4 culture. It also gets us 1 more for impact of architecture. You know, they're going to get 3 times 7, 21 for impact of architecture, and we'll get 10. So that's 11 points. No, 10. What am I saying? 8. So it's 13 points. And let's see, is that everything we can do then? Alright. Impact of harmony is not great. We would actually just tie red on that. And it's terrible for yellow, so I doubt that's in there. So I think this is we can just take something. I think this is as good as we can do. I think the biggest threats are impact of architecture. So if we assume that's in here, then that's 13 points. So that after government and that, so after impact of government, we'll be up by 21. Then 13 for architecture means we're up by 8. Impact of balance would actually be really bad too. That would give red 8 points and us 0. Impact of science is 7 points. When did yellow play their event? Yeah, they played it last time, so they knew they were about to destroy everything. So what would they... You wouldn't put in balance, right? Or science. So it could be impact of tech or progress. You know, I mean, if you're trying to play something that's good for you, that's what you would put in, something like that. I mean, industry is kind of bad. Red would get 4. So there's lots of ways that red could win. If you have architecture and science and balance or something like that, they definitely get it. So it really comes down to what yellow plays. And unfortunately, the politics of strength is not going to make its way out. And yellow's probably going to play one more event. And so we'll have to see. So yellow's almost in a position to decide who's going to win here, although they may not know it. So I think that's it. We did everything right. Yellow does play an event, reveals impact of government, so we should get 2 points here. This is going to be super close. Depends what yellow played, totally. Well, and I guess and if red actually did put architecture in. Okay, I'm a little nervous. Population, that's ours, we should tie. And then strength, oh wow. Who put strength in? Oh, that does it, right? I mean, yellow must have done that. Harmony, interesting. Someone had harmony in. Okay, so this isn't too bad. And architecture, there's the architecture, so 13 points. All right. Well, we pulled that out. That was nerve-wracking at the end and very inefficient by trying to go into culture and then the very next turn pivoting into a war. But good game.
And these are the games that have finished in the group. This was our last game, and this is the game that just finished. And one game finished in between. Unfortunately, I can't bring up the standings right now because other games have finished in addition to this game. But if we bring up a picture of what it was before the game, then we can see that Takusto 2 has 14 points. We have 17 points. Ricicle has 11 still. BlixLT is up to 7, and Lyrian Klaus is also up to 7. So we have now moved into first place with 4 of our games completed and 17 points. So things are looking good going into the 5th game. So we'll see you there. Thanks again for watching.